The day they voted to cast humanity out, the chamber felt colder than the void. Admiral Ketha sat in the high gallery, claws folded, watching the humans below. Only 3 of them had come. No guards, no escorts. Just a woman in a worn dark suit, silver at her temples. Eyes that did not look afraid at all. "The motion stands," the speaker announced. "By majority decision, species 313 humans are expelled from all galactic space. Trade revoked. Travel revoked. Presence revoked." A low ripple moved through the council tiers. Some were pleased, some uneasy. None of them expected trouble. Earth was loud, emotional, always starting fights it could not finish, they said. Banishing them was a safety measure. Nothing more. The human woman raised her hand once. "You may speak." The speaker sighed. She looked around at the faces staring down at her, scaled, furred, crystalline, tentacled. When she spoke, her voice carried without effort. "Thank you for your honesty," she said. "You fear us. You call it law, but it is fear. We understand." Ketha felt a strange twist in his chest. There was no anger in her tone. That bothered him more than any threat could. "We will leave your space," she went on. "We will close our borders. No human ship will cross your lanes again." She paused. "But remember something." She turned her eyes straight toward Ketha's section, as if she could see him through the shielded glass. "You did not break us today," she said softly. "You told us who we are to you. Now we will decide who we are to ourselves." Then she simply said, "Goodbye," and walked out with the other 2, as if this was just another meeting. No one knew it then. But that was the last time any alien saw a human in person. For a very long time, for a week after the exile, Earth sounded like one long argument. Maya Reyes watched the chaos from a balcony high over New Manila, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee that had gone cold hours ago. The skyline was full of protest drones, news banners, ships leaving orbit like angry fireflies. Beside her, Director Imani folded a thin screen closed. "The vote is done," she said. Every major nation agreed. Full withdrawal. Full blackout. "We're really doing this." Maya tried to smile and failed. "You ever think we'd be the ones who walk away from the universe?" "We didn't walk away," Imani said quietly. "We were pushed." Big difference. Down below, a crowd started chanting something in a dozen languages. She could not make out the words, but the rhythm was raw and desperate. "What if they're right?" Maya asked. "Maybe we are too dangerous. Look at the last 10 years. Border fights, tech theft, covert raids. We didn't exactly behave." Imani gave her a long look. "You were at Pelion Station," she said. "You saw the scans. You know why they really fear us?" Maya pictured Itha, old dead star, the relic buried in its orbit. The human neural patterns burned into alien metal from a war so ancient nobody could date it. A weapon that had once answered to a human mind. She pushed the memory away. So what now? Imani slid another screen across the table. It showed a map of the Sol system, but not the one the Council knew. Hidden stations in the Oort cloud. Dark shipyards under Europa's ice. A lattice of secret gates, half-built and never reported. "Now," Imani said, "we stop asking the galaxy what we're allowed to be." Maya stared at the map. The scale of it stole her breath. "You planned this." "We planned a backup," Imani corrected. "They just activated it for us." Far above, the last civilian liner from Council space cut its burn and turned for home. After that, Earth closed its borders and went quiet to the rest of the galaxy. It looked like fear to humanity. It felt like the first deep breath before a long dive. 10 years later, most people in the Council believed humanity had burned itself out. Trade reports showed nothing. No new colonies, no outbound ships caught on scanners, no signals. Earth's system was a dark hole on every map. Wrapped in warning beacons and old stories, Admiral Ketha never quite believed the stories. He sat alone in his flag cabin. Lights dim, replaying the same sensor clip again. A freighter on the rim, skimming the cold dark between arms of the galaxy, had vanished. Not destroyed. 1 second it was there. The next, its driveway folded into nothing, as if space had swallowed it whole. He slowed the clip again, and caught it. A flicker, like a ring of blue fire, far off the freighter's bow. Too clean to be an anomaly. Too quiet to be any known jump gate. Human tech. His aide had suggested when the report first came in, half joking. Ketha had not laughed. Now, there were more clips. More a pirate cruiser here, an unmarked scout there. Always around the deep roots that never touched Earth's forbidden region, but curved near it. He stood and walked to the viewport. The stars outside looked peaceful, as always. He remembered the human woman's eyes on the day of exile. "You did not break us today, Admiral." His calm chimed. "We have the Council's security session in 2 hours." "I'll attend," he said. "Send the new vanishings to my private channel. All of them." He hesitated, then added, "and pull everything we still have on human pre-contact history. Myth, rumor, all of it." There was a pause. "That's a lot of junk, sir." "I know," Ketha replied. "Sometimes the junk is all that's left when people have tried very hard to hide the truth." As the link closed, he felt the slow, cold shape of a suspicion forming in his mind. Humans were not gone. They were building something where no one was looking, in the dark beyond Pluto's old orbit. The stars looked sharper, like knives. Maya stood on the observation deck of the shipyard station, watching a new hull slide out of its cradle. It was not pretty. Human warships rarely were. Angled armor, heavy spine guns. A drive ring that glowed dim blue as it powered up for tests. "Third of the Vanguard line," said the engineer beside her, an older man with grease on his sleeves. "We shaved 6% mass off the frame." She turned faster than anything they've seen. Maya nodded, but her mind was somewhere else. How long until the whole fleet is ready? 2 years to finish the main line. Less for the We're ahead of schedule, somehow. He smiled, tired and proud. People work harder when they know the universe hates them. She huffed a small, humorless laugh. "We chose this. They gave us an excuse." Behind them, the station hummed with life. Families had moved out here now, whole communities living in rotating rings of steel, growing food under false sunlight. Children ran past in magnetic boots, laughing, dodging workers who cursed and then smiled. It didn't look like an empire on the rise. It looked like people trying to build a home where no one could reach them. The calm in her ear clicked. "Reyes, this is Amani, briefing in 10. "On my way," she replied. In the command room, the lights were low, the air tense. Screens showed the same clips. Ketha watched light-years away ships vanishing. Strange rings. Imani pointed to the map. "Phase 1 of the gate, net, is live. We've been testing on targets no one will miss. Pirates, smugglers, ghost traffic. No survivors. No witnesses." A younger officer shifted uneasily. "Feels wrong." "It is wrong," Maya said. "That's why we double-check every target. But if the galaxy comes for us again, I want their first wave to disappear before they even see our sun." She looked at the lines of hidden gates, the growing fleet, the silent network stretching through the dark. Humanity had been exiled. Humanity was preparing to answer. The Armada arrived on a calm morning over Earth. People were going to work, children to school, ships running supply routes between stations. Then every warning system lit red at once. Maya sprinted into the command pit as the main screen filled with icons. Hundreds, no thousands. A wall of mass curling in from the outer edge of the system, drives burning bright. "Identification." She snapped. "Council design," an analyst said, voice shaking. "Multiple species. Mixed fleet. Signal coming through." Imani patched it to the room. A dozen alien voices layered together, speaking in the old diplomatic tongue. "Humans of soul," the message said. "Breaking quarantine. You have violated the terms of exile. You will stand down all armed forces and submit to inspection, or your system will be cleansed for the safety of the galaxy." Someone swore under their breath. Someone else laughed, high and nervous. Maya stared at the icons. The fleet was huge, bigger than she'd expected. It had taken them 10 years to gather this many ships. 10 years of fear. They really think we've been sitting still, she murmured. Imani's eyes met hers. No fear there, only a tired sadness. We show them. We show them, Maya said. She straightened and nodded to the calm officer. Fleet-wide broadcast. Human language. Open, soft tone. A blinking light. This is Commander Maya Reyes of the Sol Defense Network, she said. Her voice sounded oddly calm in her own ears. You banished us. You closed your doors. We stepped away. Now you arrive in force. Weapons hot, speaking of safety. She let a small, incredulous smile touch her lips. We are not guests in your space anymore. You are intruders in ours. On her signal, hidden gate nodes woke like blue stars along the system's edge. Rings unfolded from nothing, swallowing the leading elements of the Council Armada. Ship after ship vanished, sensors screaming, formation breaking. On enemy bridges, officers shouted. Orders crashed over each other, panic spread. They had come to face the old, noisy, reckless Earth instead. They had stepped into the throat of something new. The battle did not look like the wars of old. There were no long lines of ships exchanging slow, brutal fire. No heroic charges. The Council Armada tried to form ranks, to bring its weight to bear, but space itself kept breaking under them. A cruiser would lurch forward and be gone, sliced sideways into a waiting gate that spat it out in hard vacuum, drive torn off, weapons cold. A destroyer turned to cover its flank and found a human frigate already there. Drive ring burning bright, guns flashing once. Clean and final. Admiral Keitha's flagship bucked as another sudden jump tore open near their bow, shut down targeting. He barked. Lean on manual. Their nets are reading us before we lock. He watched, stunned, as human ships danced through the chaos. Not many, maybe a few hundred in total, but every one moved with frightening purpose. They never wasted a shot. They never chased kills. Every action pushed the Armada closer to a set of invisible lines. A trap, Keitha realized. We walked into a shaped battlefield. On his screen, a channel request flashed. Source, Sol Defense. Put it through, he said quietly. Maya's face appeared. No uniform, just a simple dark jacket, hair pulled back. Behind her, the glow of a command room full of calm, focused people. Admiral, she said. She remembered his name. That hurt, Commander Reyes, he answered. You've grown. Busy, a faint smile. You gave us time. Explosions shuddered through distant icons. Whole wings of the Armada vanished into forced jumps. Reappearing in dead space, engines gone. Weapons stripped by invisible fields. This doesn't have to end in slaughter, she said. We built our empire to survive, not to conquer. Stand down. Cut drives. We'll gate your ships home. You will not return here with guns again. Keitha looked at the ruin of his fleet. At the few intact formations still trying to make sense of the battlefield. You could end us all right now, he said. We could, she agreed. We remember what being powerless feels like. We do not want anyone to live that way again, even you. Silence stretched between them. At last, Keitha closed his eyes. Council fleet, he said on open channel, voice firm. All ships. This is Admiral Keitha. Disarm. Power down. We surrender. Across the system, the sounds of war began to fade. 3 months later, the galaxy watched a transmission it had never expected to see. Every public channel, every commercial stream, every old relay that still worked, lit up with the same image. Earth, hanging blue and white in the dark, wrapped now in faint rings of lightgate structures, habitats, stations. The heart of a web. Maya stood at a podium in orbit, with the planet turning slowly behind her. She was not alone. Engineers, farmers, teachers, soldiers, children. Humanity in all its messy shapes. She took a breath, feeling the weight of a billion eyes she would never meet. Some years ago, she began, you cast us out. You decided humanity was too dangerous, too chaotic, too human to be allowed in your house. A small ripple of laughter moved through the human crowd behind her. Real, tired laughter. You are not entirely wrong, she said. We are dangerous. We are chaotic. We fight with ourselves, with each other, with the universe. She let the smile fade. But you also forgot something. When you pushed us away, you forced us to ask a very simple question. If no one else decides who we are, who do we decide to be? Images cut in, children running on asteroid farms, ships working in silent formation, humans and a few brave alien volunteers rebuilding surrendered council vessels side by side. We built an empire in the dark, she said. Not to rule you, to protect ourselves from you, to be strong enough that no one could ever vote us out of existence again. She leaned a little closer to the lens, as if speaking to a friend. We are not coming back to your council. Your laws no longer reach us. But our gates will open for trade, for learning, for those who come in peace. Our weapons will open only for those who come in chains. She paused, feeling the truth of what came next land in her own chest. You banished humanity, she said softly. We rose anyway. Behind her, the rings of light around Earth brightened as new gates came online, one by one, like stars forming a new constellation. From now on, Maya finished, if you speak of this world, remember, we are not your problem to solve. We are your neighbors. Treat us well, and you will find no better allies. Treat us as prey. She let the sentence hang. No threat was needed. The shattered Armada's silence had already spoken for her. And you will learn what we had to learn first, she said. No one fears humanity more than humanity itself. That's why we built something strong enough to hold us. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, people sat in stunned quiet. On some distant worlds, they whispered in fear. On others, they whispered with a strange, secret hope. Somewhere, in the dark between stars, a new human gate unfolded, waiting for whoever was braver desperate enough to step through.